Welcome to Reddit Blue Pill, Red Pill, where we go over Reddit stories and predict the outcome of the stories. Please listen and play along by typing in your choices into the comments. There are 5 seconds to answer, or you can pause the video. Today we have a story about a family road trip gone wrong. All right, let's get on to the story.
So I, 25 female, went on a road trip with my mom, 2 older brothers, 2 nephews, sister-in-law, her older sister, and her 2 kids. To make it easier, I'll refer to my sister-in-law as S and her older sister as R. My one older brother went in his car with his wife S, their 2 children, and R's daughter, while I was in my mom's car with my mom, R's son, and my other older brother who was driving. My mom's vehicle is a 5-seater, which was enough seats for all of us, but it's super cramped, which makes an 8-hour road trip super uncomfortable.
Okay, so this is going to be hard to decipher due to the quantity of people involved. I will try to explain who everyone is here, but let's start with the 3 most important people. We have the OP, which is female. We also have S, which is married to one of the OP's brothers. We also have R, which is the sister-in-law's older sister. Both S and R have 2 kids driving with them on the trip. The OP has her mom and 2 older brothers also coming on the trip. 10 people total split between 2 cars on an 8-hour trip. A trip of such length would be hard in any circumstance, but when you add mixed families and also 4 kids in 2 cramped cars is a recipe for disaster. But then again, I have not been on too many such long road trips, so I'm not the best suited to opine. What do you think? Especially for those who have more experience going on long road trips with mixed families and friends. If you think this setup sufficient for an 8-hour trip, type Q1 blue in the comments. If you think this setup is wrong and should have included an additional car, type Q1 red.
So with about a couple hours left till we made it to where we were going, we stopped to stretch. Our son had been sitting in the front seat since he's the tallest and has long legs, so me, my mom, and R were sitting at the back. When we stopped, he asked me if I wanted to switch seats and sit at the front so he can sit at the back. I agreed and told him that, yeah, I will because my left leg and hip were hurting from lack of space at the back. And I told R my leg and hip were hurting because she noticed I kept trying to find space for my leg. When I sat at the front and he came to the back, R began telling him to go back to the front since he has long legs and it won't be comfortable for him at the back. He told her he wants to sit at the back, but she began raising her voice saying, "Go to the front right now. You'll be more comfortable." After 2 to 3 times of her saying that, I got up and went to the back.
The OP is sharing the car with her mom, one of her brothers, R, who is the sister of the sister-in-law, and R's son, who is tall. It seems R's son noticed the OP having issues with her leg and hip from the long drive, so R was a gentleman and offered to sit in the back the rest of the way, which seems to be just a couple of hours more. But when R's son sat in the back, R repeatedly told him to sit back in the front because he's too tall and it will be too uncomfortable for him at the back. Now I can see R's logic, but her son was being nice and just a couple of hours in the back may have been doable for him. Plus, they could quickly stop and switch again if the son was truly too cramped in the back. Plus, the OP might have thought that R was being selfish because the OP was having leg and hip pain, and it would be fair for the OP to be at front the last couple of hours before reaching their destination. What do you think? If you feel the OP should have been allowed to sit in the front the last couple of hours, type Q2 blue in the comments. If you think it's best if the tall son sit in the front the entire trip, type Q2 red.
When we got to the Airbnb, I picked one of the master bedrooms with a big bed and its own bathroom. The last couple trips, I've had to sleep either on the couch or the floor, so I wanted to pick my own room so I never get to. Then I went downstairs and I overheard her complaining to my mom about how it's not right, it's not fair, and it doesn't make sense that a single girl like me should have such a big room. It should go to one of the families. But I didn't think it was a problem because there was another room with the exact same layout across from my room. She didn't know that I heard her. After I heard her, I said, "Oh, great, so I can't sit at the front and I can't even pick my own room?" This caused a fight because R has the habit of talking to me, to my mom, or to my older brother, and she just runs her mouth a lot.
Okay. The main issue I see here is the lack of preparation. This all could have been decided and should have been decided before the trip. When you rent a hotel or an Airbnb, there's a clear layout of what rooms are available and what extra sleeping areas are available, like cots and sofa beds. This should have been decided before the trip to avoid issues. In addition, depending on who paid what for the Airbnb, it's only fair to let that be a part of deciding who gets what room. If you're a guest and did not contribute to the cost of the trip, it's only fair to assume you would be given a sofa bed or cot. So, without this detail, then it's hard to judge, but I will just assume everyone paid for their even share of the cost. The OP picked one of the two bedrooms, leaving the other bedroom and the living room for the remaining 9 people. I can see how R was complaining, and maybe she has a point, but the OP said that she always gets the couch or the floor, so she wanted to be the one on a bed for a change. What do you think? Remember, we don't know any additional details about who paid what, so we have to go just based on what is presented here. If you think the OP deserved to have a bed to herself after sleeping on couches or the floor the previous times, type Q3 blue in the comments. If you think the OP was being selfish and the room should go to one of the families, just like R was asking, then type Q3 red.
Cut to later that night, I was holding my nephew, and S came and just grabbed him from me and said, "Give him to me." It felt like she ripped him out of my hand because he was holding onto my hair, so he yanked it. I thought she was mad at me for my fight with R. I told my mom I'm leaving because I'm tired of R running her mouth, and S yanked my nephew from me, so there's too much tension. This caused a huge fight. R and S were yelling at me. They wouldn't let me say my part. They told me to stop having an attitude, to stop lying, and every time I would try to explain my side, they would just cut me off or scream over top of me. I tried telling S it felt like that because he yanked my hair. Am I the a-hole? Please be nice. I've had a shit day.
Okay, here we come to the conclusion of the story. Later that night, the OP was holding her nephew in her arms when S, the sister of R and the mother of the baby, yanked the baby from the OP's arms. The OP took offense to this and told her mom that she was leaving because there was too much tension, which in turn caused even more tension and fighting between her and R and S. In the end, we don't know if the OP did leave or not. I think the main thing to consider is the definition of yanked. Did S really yank her child away from the OP's arms, or did it seem that way unintentionally? Considering the way R and S blew up when the OP said she was leaving, I think it's likely the two were already pissed at the OP and S did yank the child away. If so, who is the main contributor to the fight? The OP said she always get placed on the sofa or floor during these sorts of trips, so it seems that R and S ask for preference when it comes to assigning beds and rooms. But they do have children with them, so doesn't it make the most sense for them to get the beds and rooms? Because that will accommodate 3 to 4 people per bedroom instead of just the OP alone in a bedroom by herself? Ideally, this should have all been figured out beforehand, and from now on I'm sure they will be deciding accommodations more clearly in the future if the OP even rides along with them ever again. Ultimately, who is in the right here? I will add a third option for this question since I feel it is warranted. If you agree with the OP, type Q for blue in the comments. If you agree with S and R, type Q for red. If you think everyone is wrong and they all contributed to the mess, type Q for black. Now let's listen to a few comments.
I don't think you're the a-hole, but this family dynamic sounds super tense. It seems like your sister-in-law and her sister might be used to calling the shots, and when you asserted yourself a little, they took it personally. You didn't do anything outrageous, you just wanted a comfortable seat and a fair room. It might be worth setting some boundaries or just doing separate trips in the future to keep the peace.
not the a-hole. You want to enjoy your vacation too. I've learned the hard way to never put myself as seen as a tag-along on a vacation. I'll never get any consideration and is supposed to go along to get along. You were likely seen as the built-in babysitter so they could enjoy themselves. As the single person, they likely don't see you as needing as much of a respite as them. It's common in some families.
You're probably not the a-hole, but you're also in a family that shouldn't be sharing vacations or travel spaces since there are some controlling petty pennies among you.
Agree with everything everyone else said. You are definitely not the a-hole. But I'm wondering why neither of your brothers or your mother stood up for you. I would leave for that reason alone. If you haven't paid a bunch for the Airbnb and travel, I would go. Do your own thing if possible, and make sure you show up when it's time to leave.
If you're paying the same amount as everyone else, you should get your own room. I don't know why people book places that don't have enough bedrooms but expect everyone to pay the same price.
I went on a family trip, and my 2 married siblings and their spouses got the 2 rooms with the king and queen beds. I got the room with the twin beds because I'm single. It made sense, but do I sleep in a single bed at home? No, I sleep in a queen. Oh well, and OP's family sounds pretty unpleasant to vacation with. Not the a-hole.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching all the way to the end and participating. Please consider liking and subscribing to watch future videos. Goodbye.